Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is Living Divinity. So it's Monday morning, and I'm going to begin the reading. I want to begin by saying thank you to all who have subscribed. I'm really excited about the channel, and it's like my little baby, right? I got to take care of it, and I got to give you guys good readings and spend time with you, and it's healing for me, and I hope it's healing for you. Without you, there's no reason for me to be here, so you are an intricate part of what I'm destined to do here, okay? So thank you all for being here for me, and I really appreciate you guys, and you girls. So, yeah, it said, when I checked my chart, it said it was like 70% women and 30% men. So it's not quite equal, but I think most women seem to maybe awaken faster than the guys do. And that's probably not even fair to say, because I just began this journey about 6 years ago. So I had a lot of healing to do, and I'm still healing. And doing the readings is a big help for me, because I'm learning right next to you guys. Okay, so I want to thank God for this channel and everything that it means to me. And let me begin by reading out of the Bible just a bit. Let's see, we're in Psalms again. Psalms 71. In you, O Lord, I have taken refuge. Let me never be put to shame. Rescue me and deliver me in your righteousness. Turn your ear to me and save me. Be my rock of refuge, to which I can always go. Give the command to save me. For you are my rock and my fortress. Deliver me, O my God, from the hand of the wicked, from the grasp of evil and cruel men. For you have been my hope, O sovereign Lord, my confidence since my youth. From birth I have relied on you. You brought me forth from my mother's womb. I will ever praise you. I have become like a portent to many, but you are my strong refuge. My mouth is filled with your praise, declaring your splendor all day long. Do not cast me away when I am old. Do not forsake me when my strength is gone, for my enemies speak against me. Those who wait to kill me conspire together. They say, God has forsaken him. Pursue him and seize him, for no one will rescue him. Be not far from me, O God. Come quickly, O my God, to help me. May my accusers perish in shame. May those who want to harm me be covered with scorn and disgrace. But as for me, I will always have hope. I will praise you more and more. My mouth will tell your righteousness of your salvation all day long. Though I know not its measure, I will come and proclaim your mighty acts, O sovereign Lord. I will proclaim your righteousness, yours alone. Since my youth, O God, you have taught me, and to this day I declare your marvelous deeds. Even when I am old and gray, do not forsake me, O God, till I declare your power to the next generation, you might to all who are to come. Your righteousness reaches to the skies, O God. You who have done great things, who, a God like you, who, O God, is like you? Though you have made me see troubles, many and bitter, you will restore my life again from the depths of the earth. You will again bring me up. You will increase my honor and comfort me once again. I will praise you with the harp for your faithfulness, O my God. I will sing praise to you with the lyre, O Holy One of Israel. My lips will shout for joy when I sing praise to you, I whom you have redeemed. My tongue will tell of your righteous acts all day long, for those who wanted to harm me have been put to shame and confusion. And that was the whole book of Psalm 71. So I see in that, we can't take God for granted. And we have to know that He's our everyday. He's every minute of our life. He's our protector. He's our provider. He's the one that gives us salvation, right? He's all the good things. And I would imagine in some cases, with his wrath, or, when you're doing bad and he's trying to awaken you, sometimes he allows you to do bad things. And then it's like he has so many last-ditch efforts to try to save his children. And, he wants us to praise him. He wants us to be thankful. He wants us to love each other more, love ourselves more. He wants us to be even balanced, even give and take. He wants us to have mercy just like he has mercy. He wants us to show grace just as he shows grace. And he wants us to forgive just as he forgives. So we are all children of God, and we have to honor his name. We have to honor who he is to us, and we have to honor by living our lives the cleanest that we can. And God realizes that no one's perfect. But I believe he finds joy when we speak of his name, when we bring him into our house and bring him into our lives. That's it's the most peaceful that anybody could ever have. And I'm living proof of that, believe me. My life has really changed a lot, and I've learned patience. So it's hard to learn. I mean, you can go in the dictionary and you can read what it is, but to practice it and to have it in your life is it's not easy, right? We want things when we want things, and we have to surrender to God whatever it is that we want, and we have to just hold our faith and put our trust in him that he'll come through. So God bless you all. Let's move on to the reading. Miracles now. My happiness can be measured by the level of my faith and love. Okay? Your faith and love, my faith and love. If there's no love, there's no God. Even like for me, I live alone, so I tell my dog that I love him. I tell him that he's my one and only doggy that I'll love forever. The truth is, I've had many animals in my lifetime. Most of them were from puppy, and then one dog was from my first marriage. It was their family dog, and we took him. His name was Scooby. He's a very smart dog, and he was older. So, we ended up getting a little golden retriever, Bobo. And then our roommate, Lynn, had Samson. And he was a golden retriever also. But, so Scooby kind of became my dog, even though it was from his family. And the thing about animals is they know so much more than we do. They know how to be faithful, right? They know how to love. Their love is unconditional. And I remember when I had to put him down, well, my daughter's father couldn't go. I'm not sure if it was emotional for him or if it was a lazy excuse. But anyways, I believe that most likely it was the emotional part. And Scooby, every time we ever took, well, I should say anytime I ever took him to the vet, or we ever took him to the vet, he was always fighting to get in there. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to go behind the glass door. And when we knew that we had to put him down, he just wasn't feeling like life was any good for him anymore. And that day, he wanted to sniff around a tree. Like, he knew that was it. He took his time. He sniffed around the tree. He raised his leg up for the last time and did some of his business, And then when I took him to the door, he walked right in. And I can't tell you I remember anything past that, but I'm sure I was with him when he was euthanized. And that's the first time I ever had to put a dog down. And it was hard. It was emotionally hard. But to have love, from an animal, it's really, they depend on you for everything, just like a little kid. And you have a lot of good times when you're taking them out and they're running the field, and just enjoying the fresh air, and they're enjoying life. And when it's time to come in, they want to cuddle next to you and they want to love you up. And putting him down, there was a song on the radio. I never knew the names of songs anyways, but it had to do with Now You're Leaving Me Behind. And whenever that song plays, it makes me think of him. And so every body has a spirit. Every animal has a spirit. Every bird, every fish in the ocean, they all have a spirit within them that carries them through, that they naturally know what to do. And dogs are usually really protective, right? He was such a good boy. But my happiness can be measured by the level of my faith and love. I live by myself. I've disconnected from many of my family members, and I said my truths, and none of it was about hate. I mean, my words were meant to touch their hearts, to make them realize that, I'm a person too, and I won't be just kicked around like I'm bothering them. I'd rather be out of their lives than to feel like whenever I go around them that I have to take a certain amount of abuse. And that's not all my family members. That's it's not all my siblings, but the ones that, outrightedly betrayed me. I let them know. And I don't even know if they even realize the measure of what they've done. And I would say that possibly that they're in their own little world of doing their manipulations that they probably didn't even see it the way it actually was. And, their answer is probably, oh, she's too sensitive. Oh, it didn't really happen that way. So people say you're sensitive when you tell the truth, and it's something that they don't want to hear. They don't want to accept. They don't want to even say, hey, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. So, they're not sorry. And I have to accept that. But I have to also know that in my life, I do have love in my life. I have love for myself. I have love for others. I have love for my dog. And I have love for people in general. And I have love for my ancestors, our God, right? So I'm not perfect. I'll never tell anyone that I think I'm perfect. I'll never try to even beat around the bush about it. I'm not perfect. I can only tell you that I'm here. I believe I'm doing God's work, and if I'm touching your heart, if I'm saying things that trigger you, it's meant to look at yourself, to say, hey, she said this one statement, and I kind of take it personal. Is that really part of my life, and what can I do to fix it? What can I do to make myself better? So, of course, I believe in having positive readings, and I don't believe in really cutting people down, but we have to know that there's people out there that have been hurt before, and they've never even tried to heal themselves. Maybe they believe that they don't need to heal. Maybe they believe that their life is just fine the way it is, regardless of how they treat people. If they mistreat people, it's dismissed as, oh, I'm having a bad day, or, it's because of my past, so forth and so on. And so, even with my daughter, she tells me that I'm usually a nurturing, loving mom to her, but she could see the other side of me, and the other side really scared her. And I apologized to her, and I just said, that's how I was raised. It doesn't make it right. But the way I acted was how my, mostly it was my dad, My dad, I'll always love him no matter what people view him as. If they view him negatively, it doesn't really matter. I'll always love him, and I'll always speak up for him. He's been dead since like 1990, yeah. Somewhere between 90 and 95, maybe it was 1990. No, it had to have been somewhere in the middle, like 1992, 94. And but my dad was abused when he was growing up, and he didn't break the chain. And my daughter, my words were really sharp, and those are the worst, right? When the words come out and they're sharp. So I'm hoping that in the future, when we actually are like living close to each other, that she can measure the level of my love in her, and I have faith in that. So I prayed to God that we would come back together, and when we talked like the first time, just like 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, anyways, she told me, she's like, Mom, we both needed that time apart. And so I stand in total agreement with her, and I do talk to her about God, and she listens. I don't know how much she's taking in per se, and in time, she'll know that that God is who brought us together. It wasn't just because we both decided. It was time. It was really a way probably to protect her and give her time to have healing. And I had my own healing to do, and so that's what it is, having faith and love. I always knew that we would come back together. I always knew that I thought she would reject me. I thought she could live without me. And I was totally wrong. So, but I always knew that somewhere in there, inside of me, I knew that we would just take it from where we left off with love, I always love her, no matter what. And I will always give her my best advice, because that's what moms are supposed to do, right? Okay, moving forward, we have Divine Feather message. And here's the feather. It's kind of a plain Jane black feather. And it's the blackbird. Blackbirds sing some beautiful songs, right? Okay. Blackbird. Okay. The blackbird has long been considered a bird of mystery with its unique folklore. This is a messenger who often communicates through his loud and magical song. Blackbirds with their dark plumes are associated with the unseen worlds and are thought to be the gateway to unseen reality. Blackbirds remind us that not everything is as it seems to the naked eye. The blackbird calls you to the unseen realms. The messenger encourages you to welcome in the mysteries and magic of that which is not in plain sight. Allow the song of blackbird to invite you to move beyond your usual limits and find your hidden potential. The gifts that we find in the shadows are often the greatest inspirations. All we need to do is step forward and seek what is right there in the twilight. Allow yourself to push past the ordinary boundaries and take the journey with Blackbird. As you do, be open to the new information and opportunities that await you. The energies, mystery, hidden potential, spring, summer, fall is the seasons. The energies, mystery, and hidden potential. The season is spring, summer, fall. The element is air and water. The color is black and red. Affirmation: I embrace and open to the mystery and magic in life. Okay, so let me get one of my cards out of my magic box. Kind of digging down deep. Okay. I have, it's okay to stop and rest, but never give up. If you have a goal you're trying to set and you want it done in your own particular way, and maybe you put yourself on a time frame and you feel like you can't just stop, and you feel like you got to keep going until it's done. And depending upon what the project is, sometimes you do need to rest. Sometimes you're overthinking. Sometimes there's something you're missing. So it could be, Spirit's way of saying, take a break because I want you to see something else, or I want you to see it from a different perspective. But never give up on yourself. So if this has to do with your dreams, do you have dreams of being a photographer? Do you have dreams of traveling the world, critiquing foods? Do you have dreams of trying all the cruises out and making little film clips about it and talking about it? Whatever it is that you want to do. It could be doing humanitarian work, such as taking care of the forest or taking care of the beaches. Just focus on what you need to do, and if for some reason you're feeling a little tired or a little exhausted over it, go ahead and be okay about taking a rest and never give up. I was actually raised to be like a go-getter, right? I don't know how else to explain it. It's kind of like every member of my family, they're all like gung-ho about their job, right? They want to do a good job. They want to be recognized. They want they want their boss to say, "Hey, you really did that very well. I appreciate you working so hard at making the day go by smoother by all the hard work that you put forth, all the organization you prepared for the day or prepared for the week." And very often, those words are not said. And when you're working for someone and you're working day in and day out, and you just want the day to go good, you want to get all your work done, you don't want any callbacks, you don't want any you want the whole experience to be positive. So part of that would be your boss saying, "Hey, good job, I really appreciate you." And it's often forgotten to hear those words from your employer or from your boss. And even so, those are things that it could be said in private, but I think it's better to be recognized. If you're in a group, right, why would you just say, "Hey, John, good job," and then everybody else is looking to you like, "Well, what about the work that I did?" It becomes a competition, and it's not really meant to be that way. It's meant to say, John's done a very good job, and if you want to excel, if you want to learn how to do it quicker, smarter, more efficient, just watch John, and you can kind of mimic him, right? So the congratulatory remarks in these days is who how well do you fit in with your boss? How well do you control your workers? How well are you the one to say, "Yeah, I can do that"? Well, if you're the only one saying, "Yeah, I can do that," it would be like extra work, right? "Yeah, I can do that. I can fit that in my schedule." But then you're the go-to guy, right? So John gets paid as much as he gets paid. Before he said, "Yeah, I can do that. I can put that extra chore on my plate." And then everybody else is just skating, doing the regular amount of work. Now, how does that become fair? Does it become fair when it's time for review, or is it because somebody and you have this certain get along kind of vibe with that person, but you're not really doing your share of the work? So it can be all twisted, right? The whole world can be twisted in so many ways. So we really have to make people aware. And when people stand up, I've seen people just walk off the job and say, "I'll be back." And the person's such a good worker and such an intricate part of that position. You would think, I don't know, it's kind of, if someone walks off the job, you would think they walk off the job and that's it. But if you're a really good worker and you have a lot to give to the company, then, it's good that it's bad that he or she had to walk off the job, but it showed strength and saying, I'm not going to be mistreated, I'm not going to be used, I'm not going to be abused, I'm not having it. I'm here to do my job and do a good job and to get paid. And, do you want to be the go-to guy? Being the go-to guy, it does make you feel good, but at the end of the day, if you're doing so much more extra work than everybody else, and all of you are getting paid by the hour, what does it matter? Why would you want to do the extra, right? So it turns someone good into someone sour. And unfortunately, that's what happens with the world in all kinds of industries. The ones that are there for you, is the company there for you? You know what I mean? So I'm totally about putting in my share. I'm totally about doing extra. And doing extra means whatever it takes, right? Doing maybe doing the sweeping, maybe helping a customer. Maybe it's restocking shelves. It's whatever the industry is. If you're doing extra, nobody could ever say that you don't do your share. And that's the way we were all raised. Every one of my siblings were raised in that way, and it's not even. I can't really remember if my dad told me, like, you work hard and you do extra. I don't really remember. I mean, if it was anyone, it would have been my dad. But I can't tell you whether it's like in our blood or were we all told that. So it could have been my dad that told me something similar, or my oldest brother. My oldest brother always gave me, really good, solid advice. And, it's your name. If you're doing right, then your name cannot be tarnished. And if it's tarnished, then those are people who are in the wrong position. Those are people that shouldn't be talking, without confronting you about it. Oh, this is what I'm saying about you when you go to the bathroom, Marcia. People don't do that, right? They just, as soon as you leave, then they say whatever they have to say. And it's all in a reflection about who they are and where they're lacking. So it's a hard pill to swallow. That's basically people. Either you're in the right group, and you could, if you're in the right group, you could do less work and still get a better raise, and you could be in the right group, and you can make suggestions, and they say, hey, let's work on this project together. It was your idea, let's go with it. But it doesn't happen like that in the real world. What happens is if someone comes in off the streets and goes right to the admin department and starts working with all the other women that have been there for 10 years, and you go in there and you say, oh, let's what about this? Why don't we do this? And then as soon as you leave, they go into the office and tell Donna Girardi, oh, this is what she was saying. And here's a lady, Donna Girardi. I want to say she's probably retired by now, but she could still be working. She was a good old girl. She hung out with all the higher ups, on Friday night and Saturday. She got in the clique, and then she got the position. And I'm not saying she wasn't deserving, but if she can't see something that some Filipino girl, right, who come from the Navy, right, can go in there and just tell her, tell the people, why don't we do this? Why not make it like more efficient? She didn't have the first clue. I mean, she got it after she was told, but she had been doing that job, working in admin for, say, like 8 years. Some people can't expand their minds. So sometimes when you need a rest, you take a rest. And people who deserve to be recognized, deserve to, that's pretty valid when it really makes the system run so much more efficiently, but it was displayed as her idea or one of her little minions' ideas, and so it turned out that there was another idea I had, and I kind of mentioned it to one of the girls, and then I saw her boss outside, and she was taking a cigarette break with him. So I was like, hey, Chuck, I had this idea. He's like, oh, yeah, what's that? And so I started talking about the mailroom process and all that. And she butts right in between, and she's like, yeah, Chuck, that's what I want. And he just looked at me like, okay, I see where it's coming from. It's coming from that brown, intelligent girl. Not from the girl that we put in a position of over the whole department that used to dance on speakers, right? And I would never dance on a speaker to get a position. I'm just not that kind of girl. I use my brain. Using your brain is very good, right? People don't like people smarter. And the saying is, you don't, if you're the smartest person in the group, then it's time for you to find a different group. So I love doing entrepreneur work. I had my real estate license for a bit, and then we relocated to Hawaii, and I did a regular job for a year, and then I did another regular job for another year, and then I started working with my husband at the time doing remodels, and there was so much to learn. It's a very exciting time. By the time we got done with our whole relationship, it wasn't really a battle on the job, but it was all the little things that we really didn't have to relive every day. That just really was like having a little campfire and adding little twigs to it to keep it burning. It was like every day there was like a big log thrown out of there, and the fire got out of control. That was every day for about 2 years, and I finally said, I've done all that I can with this. It's time for us to move on. So if you're feeling like you need a rest, it's okay, but never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams, your aspirations, different things that you've wanted to do, like probably your whole life, right? I know it's like that for me with artwork, and I got to really experience a lot of that, and I'm not done. There's other things that I want to do regarding art. Just, maybe my painting days are just on the back burner right now, but there's other things that I want to do, like I want to get a block of wood, and I want to cut out a bear or something with a chainsaw, and then sand it down and take my little chisel and really look at the details of it, and then sand it, and then varnish it, and then I don't know if I would keep it or try to sell it, but that's just one thing. Let's talk to my daughter about getting a clay wheel, and that we could do a kiln like in the backyard, and we just kind of dig a hole and put a bunch of wood in there, and when it becomes red, right, like the charcoals, it starts looking like that, then just put the clay pot on there somehow and let it cook. So we'll see. Anyways, our next one is messages in the mermaids. Messages from the mermaids. Today we have healing. We all need to heal. What I like about this card is the sunlight is right over them. The rays are coming through. The sun is healing. The water is healing. The togetherness is healing, right? And they're all sharing a beautiful experience that might take away some pain from the past just by experiencing something so beautiful. So let me get that read to you. Healing. Okay. Okay. All right, healing. We all have healing to do. All right, set aside the time for self-healing. Welcome and allow healing energy to flow into your life and share your healing energy with others. These mermaids bring a powerful healing energy into your reading today. This healing can be for your mind, body, and spirit, or for all three. If you don't need healing at this time, then it's for someone close to you or the recipient of this reading. Part of the healing process is to believe you deserve to be healed and to also be receptive on a subconscious level to healing energies. Now, this might sound strange, but feeling and truly believing that you're worthy of being healed is a huge part of becoming whole again and free from dis-ease. Are you being called to heal another? Have you considered a path in the healing arts? There are so many ways to administer healing. Simply listening can greatly help someone to feel heard, which in turn can lead to an inner healing and transformation. Perhaps you've recently completed a healing course. If so, this card is confirmation that it's time to take your healing skills out into the world. Have you ever been delaying your own healing? Sunlight is a powerful healing energy that most of us have access to fairly regularly. It can make you feel energized and uplifted. So slather on the sunscreen and go out and enjoy it in a safe way. Once you prioritize time for self-care and healing, you'll be able to face the world again with vigor and enthusiasm. What are you waiting for? Do it now. Okay. Healing is the first part. Accepting what happened. Trying to get a higher perspective. And sometimes you don't have to know the reason why that happened. You just have to know that it happened. What role did you play in it? How did it affect you? Like journaling, right? It hurt me when so-and-so did this to me. Maybe that so-and-so has passed away now. How can you heal from trying to confront someone who's already gone? So I have 4 brothers. My oldest is my oldest. He lived his life the way he lived his life, and I feel like he's done very well for himself. He actually had a disconnect from his son, and his son came out of nowhere. His ex-wife had passed away, and that's who his son mainly clinged to. But when she passed away, shortly after that, he reached out to his dad. And out of nowhere, my brother was a grandfather. He had a 2-year-old grandson that he was just realizing that he had. And I'm sure he was very happy that his son came back into his life. And he knows that he was hard on his son. But sometimes being hard, it makes your kids stronger. And sometimes being hard can actually break them. So there has to be some sort of fine line, right? That you you don't really know, because especially if it's your first kid, you don't really know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. You go by your instinct, and you go by how you were raised. And my two brothers that passed away, they lived with my youngest brother. And he's not, I say youngest because he's youngest in the family. He's actually my older brother too, because I'm the youngest. So the two boys, I say boys, the two men lived with their little brother, but there was never any boundaries set. And eventually everything blew up, and my brother had to tell them to leave. And I guess there was like some confrontation kind of thing. And so they didn't talk to him anymore. They just left the area, and that was it. So my brother Mike passed away, and my oldest brother was next to kin, and he said, "Can you handle this since you were in the service?" And my brother Mike was in the Army. I said, "Yeah, I'll find my way through." And so I had to call some of the relatives, and well, the truth is that it cost so much money to have them cremated. There was a lot of other problems and a lot of other things that I had to explain to other family members. That wasn't, it didn't cost them anything. But when it came to the money, nobody wanted to put in. And my uncle and his wife, they paid for it. So later on, I did some work. When I got back here, I did free work for him. That probably would have cost him about $2,000 easily, probably. I don't know, somewhere around there, I would guess. But the debt was repaid, and that was important for me to do because, my family's not supposed to be poor. We're not supposed to be struggling. We're supposed to be living a better life. And through circumstances, with my mother passing away and all that, we lost our main guidance. Our main, my mom was our rock. But as the story goes, is the two middle brothers didn't talk to the youngest brother for years. And so, I had to call the youngest brother and say, Mike passed away. And he really didn't care. He didn't act like he cared. And then when I was talking to him one day, I said, I said, you still have time. You still got Randy, He's still here. You should reach out to him. And you guys should make amends. And well, my brother Randy died in what was it? He died in November 2020. So my sister-in-law, she said, she called me. It was like a Tuesday morning. And of course she was crying, upset. She's like, I tried calling Robert, but he didn't answer his phone. And she says, I'm calling you to tell you that your brother Randy passed away this morning. And her and I share the same birthday, with different years, but we share the same birthday. So we're like some sort of twin from a different mom or whatever. Anyways, so she's crying, upset, of course. And so she told me that he was put in the hospital for double pneumonia, or back-to-back pneumonia is what she said. Plus he had other health issues with diabetes, being overweight, bad heart. And he already had gone under twice before, where they put him into the coma thing, to try to help his body to rejuvenate. So twice he went under. I don't really know how that works. Do you get so sick that everything shuts down and then you're in the sleeping mode? So it could have been that way as well. But 2 times he went under. And when he was alive, I told him, I said, you need to start eating right. You need to do what the doctor says. You need to change your life, and you can turn this around. And so I talked to his wife here and there. He's he still eats the same. Everything's the same, you know. Anyway, so I had to call my other brother and say, well, I said, what are you doing? He's like, I'm at work. I said, are you busy? He said, no. I said, you better sit down. He's like, what's up? I said, I'm calling to tell you that Randy passed away on Tuesday morning. It might have been the same day, you know, the same day that he passed away that she called me. I'm almost positive, but yeah, I had to call him. And his answer was, wow, I thought I had time. See, you never know. You never know when God's going to take you. And the people who you have hurt and the people who have hurt you, neither one of yous ever know. So if that person's important in your life, you should reach out and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. You know, I'm sorry we had these horrible words between us. You're my brother and I've always loved you. And I'm hoping that we can get past this, you know. You know, like, why don't you and your wife come down? Or how about I take a trip and come up? The family's really hard-headed. The family is, they had to fight for every ounce of attention. You know what I mean? Like with my mom. And I wouldn't say they fought for attention. I would say mom only had so much that she could give out. And after kids got a certain age, they were kind of on their own, knowing that, I mean, they should know, like in their heart, that, you know, she loved all of us. So, you know, I kind of get the brunt of all that because they say I was spoiled because I'm the baby. I got to sleep with mom and dad whenever I wanted. You know, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd go crawl in bed with them, you know, regardless of what they were doing. I didn't know what they were doing when dad was under the sheet, you know. I was just, you know, like 11 years and younger. I didn't know what that was. But, you know, they said dad was always concerned about you. It's like, well, I can't help the order I was born. Why are you taking it out on me? So the way I explained to them is, you got to know mom as an adult. You were an adult. Mom was an adult. I said, I'll never get to have that. So in all actuality, you got more of mom than I did. But what they were telling me was I got more quality than they did. And I can't help the position I was born. So my next card, my handwritten card, is when someone annihilates your character. The best thing you can do is say thank you for highlighting my bright light. To not take it personal. To not, you know, say, you know, to try to explain yourself. What did I do? Tell me what did I did wrong. You know, there's no time for that. The people who annihilate your character, you don't waste your energy on them. You don't give them the satisfaction of even knowing that what they say touched your heart in whatever way it touched it, about whatever they said about you. And this kind of stuff's been going on my whole life. You know? When I met my siblings, it happened to me on jobs, and it was all a reflection. You know, the people that came into my life were really reflections of me. Like, where am I lacking in my life that people just find it so easy to assume things about me? Because I'm so quiet? Because I look a certain way? I was born with the way I look. I can't control that. You know, I can't control my energy level. I can't control what's going on in my life. I mean, I can control what's going on in my life, but when I'm involved with other people and other feelings and all that, I can't control them. So maybe it was. Maybe I couldn't control my own life. Maybe that's why the people came into my life, to reflect back to me that I got to take my own power back, and I got to stand in my truth. And that took me a long time, you know. It took me a very long time. I mean, you know, I used to throw fits. I used to, you know, my first husband, I acted up because he was acting up. So I was giving him the same energy he was giving me. And my second husband, we really basically got along as long as he got to have as much beer as he wanted. If he got to smoke in as much cigarettes as he wanted, if he was allowed to, you know, put his nose up to one of my dinners, you know, or whatever, you know, as long as I just let him just be whatever. But my family doesn't come from a family of waste, and his family did, you know. They didn't believe in having their kids eat leftovers. Their kids had to have a fresh meal every night. And so when you have two people coming together, and one family is, you know, we use the food that we have. We eat the food that we have. We don't just keep buying stuff and then having to throw food out. That's not how we were raised. So a lot of times people will have different lives. It doesn't matter. We could be the same nationality. Just because you're the same nationality doesn't mean you grew up. Could be some similar things, right? But different households handle things differently. So you have to learn how to balance that, and some things are worth fighting for, some things aren't. But being wasteful is worth fighting for, because you lose a lot of money that way. And when you lose money, you lose your security, right? And a relationship, it shouldn't be about money, but if it's being wasted, if it's just being used and abused, if you're working hard to try to make a living, and you see that someone's overspending, yeah, that's a big problem. And someone would actually, you know, my second husband would call his oldest sister and say, oh, well, you know, Marcia took my debit card. And she would call me and she'd say, oh, who do you think you are? Out of nowhere. And it's like, what do you mean? And then she would tell me, you took away his debit card. And I say, I don't think he's telling you everything. She's like, oh, yeah. Like she was totally trying to stick up for her little brother. She was like, oh, yeah, what is it that he's not telling me? I said, what he's not telling you is he already gets a 12-pack when we get off work. And he's already gone through 1 pack of cigarettes during the work day, and then he gets another pack for the nighttime. I said, when I make dinner, he eats, and I tell him I'm going to go to bed. I wake up about an hour or so later, and he's gone. He's gone down to the bar to buy more beer, by the singles, right? Because you get a single beer every time, you know. I said, or he goes down to the store to buy more beer. I'll see him hauling back another 12-pack or another 6-pack. I said, that's why. So I proved a point to him. I said, every time that you take money out for yours, I'm going to take money out the exact same amount. In 5 weeks, I had $1,100. Is that crazy? It didn't help him. He still wanted to do what he wanted to do. It didn't matter how much money he was wasting. He couldn't even commit to cutting it in half. So that was a big deal breaker, you know. You know, because I really did love the guy, but not on the how do you put that? When I don't have any peace, when I don't have security, it's not worth it. Okay. Next, we move on to your soul purpose. Then we have the police officer. Okay. So now I don't want you all to think that maybe I was just imagining someone saying, well, I wonder exactly how it was that you two lived together. Did he have to drink that much just to stay with you? No, that wasn't the case at all. So I just kind of heard that in my mind, so I just wanted to clear that up. Okay, the affirmations. I am safe and sound and out of harm's way. I follow the rules and expect others to do the same. I'm aware of how my thoughts, words, and actions affect those around me. Getting back to the police officer. Not all of them are good, right? We have good and bad and everything. Not all are good and not all are bad. You know, their little, let's see, this is under justice. Their group covering each other when bad things go bad. That's not cool. You know, people need to be, you know, they're trying to uphold the law. Meanwhile, you know, they expect other people, the public, to uphold the law. Meanwhile, you know, there's a group of them that's breaking the law. So I don't know. We need to have that whole thing worked out. All right. Are you someone who needs to make sure rules and regulations are followed? Law enforcement is the primary duty of police officers. They ensure that law and order are upheld and that the community is protected. By deterring violations of the rules, peace is maintained. This life path also includes careers like armed forces, criminal investigators, security guards, jailers, and correction officers. When the police officer in black tourmaline card appears, look at yourself to determine if you are following the rules of society and your community. Are you resistant to following the policies of local establishments or those set up by close family and friends? Look at how you live your life as well as the main focus of your thoughts and attention. Use this card as a sign to police your thoughts, words, and actions. Now that's really very important. If everybody policed their own actions, their own thoughts, their own words, it would be a better world. The energy of black tourmaline helps you go deeper into previous hidden aspects of your consciousness. The more you clear your own energy, the better you are able to maintain a sense of safety and protection. We draw to ourselves whatever we focus on. On the other hand, if you've recently observed a crime, contact the authorities to handle it in a professional legal manner. When this card shows up, make the effort to be sure that you are protected and safe. Observe your actions to confirm that what you do and where you go are in alignment with keeping you and those you love out of harm's way. Black tourmaline is a grounding stone. It helps when you feel scattered and pulled off center. Focus on the task at hand and remove outdated thoughts and beliefs in order to facilitate the energy of safety and protection at all times. So that's really important. If we police ourselves, if our parents are teaching us properly, and if we're absorbing it properly, then the world would be better. Okay. You know, and we should know that we are all energetically connected. We should know that our spirit, you know, our spirit is like, we just have the knowing, right? Kind of like, I use this as a reference all the time. Sort of like someone calls you out of the blue. You know, hey Martha, guess who just called me? John. I was talking to John and I was like, hey, that's crazy. I was just thinking about you. So you see, we're all energetically connected. So since I was talking about my brother, who's still alive, who couldn't make things right, and now he has to live with the fact that he was warned, you know. I told him, I was like, you know, you need to make amends. You know, you don't know when God's going to take him. And I can feel his anger right now. The truth hurts. You know, I told my oldest sister, I said, you know, I came home because so many of my relatives are passing away. And in one family, my Auntie Felicia, she's the oldest. Since I've been back, four of her children passed away. And I told my oldest sister, I said, who am I and what am I doing here? And I told her, I told 3 people in my life that you went under twice, and if you go under again, you might not come back. That was my sister Tanya. She died in 1989. The doctors didn't expect her to live into her 20s. They thought she would be dead because of her heart condition. She was born with a defect in her heart. They didn't expect her to ever have children. They expected her to not live past her teens. But she, you know, God blessed her with those 10 extra years. But I told her the same thing I told my brother, who I was in Hawaii when it happened, my brother Randy. I told him the same thing. And then when I got back here, my cousin Darla, who's 2 years older than me, we used to pal around here in Guadalupe. She went under twice, and when I found out she was in the hospital, I visited her quite a few times. And I told her the same thing. I said, you can make a change. You can make a change. You have to decide. I want to live longer. And I told my oldest sister, I was like, why is it me that has to tell people? You know, I tell people with not really knowing. Like, did I really know that my brother would not make up with my other brother before he died? Why did I even say that to him? I think I said it to him because it's the same thing I told my dad. I told my dad, I said, you know, I said, one of your daughters thinks that you hate her. I said, you need to make amends with her. And he's like, I don't have a problem with her. I love her. I said, you need to tell her. I said, because Dad, you're going to be dead. One day you're going to be dead, and she's going to have to live the rest of her life wondering, did Dad really love her? So you better let her know. And he did. I've always spoken from the heart. I've always spoken like, you know, sometimes some raw truths. As a kid, you know, I told my mom that Grandma had less wrinkles than her. And I told my mom that Grandma had beautiful eyes. And she had beautiful rosy cheeks. and she had a beautiful smile. I didn't see my mom smile that much. She had a stroke when I was 5 years old. And she lost control of her bottom lip, so there was no nerves in there, so it would just like flop around. So she always held her finger like underneath her bottom lip, just so she could feel normal. But I know I told my mom she looked beautiful. I remember when Dad and her would get dressed to go out, and she would have her hair fixed up. My mom had really thin hair, so she had a few wigs that she kept on the little styrofoam cone heads, and she would brush them and she would curl it or do whatever she did to it. And then she would put false eyelashes on and, put her lipstick on and her blush. She looked real pretty and her clothes looked real pretty. Sometimes you think there's time. So whatever it is you need to do out there, you should just reach out. If you get a rejection, then know that you at least reached out and tried to make amends. Because you never know when it's going to be too late. I don't know who I'm talking to, but someone might need to hear that, right? Native Spirit. The next card is Spirit Keeper of the East. This here reminds me of like Utah. Of course, the mountain ranges didn't have trees like that I've seen. All the mountain ranges were bare. So I'm not sure where that picture, is that a real place? It kind of looks like it. Could it be Montana or someplace? Spirit Keeper of the East. Okay. Wouldn't be like Maine? I don't know. I've been around New York State. Nothing in New York State looks like that. I've been around Pennsylvania. No mountain ranges look like that. So maybe it's like Vermont, Maine, around there. Not close to the water, but more inland. It's definitely, I've been all up and down the East Coast. There's no mountain ranges like that. And even in Tennessee, those mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains, I only seen pictures of them, but they don't look like that either. So maybe it's way north. Spirit Keeper of the East. New beginnings, a fresh cycle is occurring in your life. Wipe the slate clean. It's now time to release the old and start again. No matter what has happened in the past, it doesn't need to repeat in the future. Your native spirit wants you to know, in native traditions, the directions are honored. It's believed that every direction has an associated spirit that can be called upon. In the great cycle of life, the East is the place of the rising sun. It's also associated with planting seeds in the springtime, birth, the waxing moon, and new beginnings. Pulling this card means that this is the close of one cycle and the beginning of another. Although it's often difficult to release familiar routines, situations, or relationships when they no longer empower you, your native spirit asks that you not cling to the old, but set sail into new waters. Face your fear and allow yourself to stretch in a new direction. Wonderful opportunities will be born in your life. The journey, stand and be still, breathe and center yourself, then slowly turn in a circle. Close your eyes and feel the energy of each direction. There is a difference in the feeling in each direction. Stand facing east as the sun rises to sense the unique energy of that direction. Yeah, so I don't know. The only parts I haven't seen on the east coast, that is. And I've been inland on Maryland. Maryland's like an inland state. Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. There's no mountain ranges like that in the east, unless, like I say, it's Vermont, Maine, what's up there, New Hampshire. You know, I'm saying inland, away from the ocean. So, let me pull a magic card. How do you guys like my backdrop? I was doing work for my cousin's daughter. She had a business where here in California, it's serving, like you serve during events. And this event was a special one. It was somewhere in San Luis, and they were trying to raise money for maybe the farmers. I can't remember, but they gave these scarves out, and we had to wear them like bandanas. However we wore them, we could roll them up and, you know, do like the Aunt Jemima little head thing. But it was to let all the other people know who the workers were, you know, so they could be identified as the servers. Okay. I have, thank you, God Almighty, every day and every way. So I have all these little sayings that I kind of just, I might have heard it on one of the tarot readers when, you know, the 6 years I've been watching them, right? And like I have one that says stick to it, which, you know, everybody can say, right? Don't give up, stick to what you're doing. So I ended up getting a whole bunch of one by ones. That's wood, right? One by pine woods. I had some pine strips. It's like I had like 16 of them kind of laying around. So I started writing stick to it and all this other thing regarding a stick. And I took them like to the where the homeless. They sleep at the parks a lot over there in Hawaii, and in the morning I took a whole bunch of, just laid them across this brick wall. It's the lava rock walls that they built out there. And then I had some paintings that I did on the plywood, and I just kind of laid them out. I drove there. I had my car then, well, actually the truck. I drove out there and dropped them off early in the morning. And then by the time I went by in the afternoon, it was all gone. So the people came by and picked them up. Wasn't like thrown out or anything. People like took them. They might have used the sticks to hold up their tarp or something. I don't know. But why am I telling you guys this? Oh, every day and every way. I kind of used that for a while. So I have all these little sayings that, you know, like I heard on the tarot readers, right? That made sense and it resonated with me. So thank God every day and every way. I don't know, maybe my grandma used to say that. But to be thankful and grateful is the beginning of your healing. You know, it's the beginning of appreciating, even though you're not healed yet, even though you might know what healing you need, and you might believe that you cannot heal yourself, that you just have to live with it. I don't believe that. So I believe that, I mean, if you watch my last reading and then you scroll down to the prayer part, you know, I know that doctors are skilled in the way they're skilled. However, you know, I've already seen it a few times, especially with my cousin Darla dying. The doctor comes in and he's like, "Oh, Mrs. Campbell, should we increase your medicine? How are you doing? Do we need to increase your medicine?" And I looked at him and I was like, shouldn't you be telling her how, what she could do naturally to get off the medicine? They're trained to just give medicine. Medicine is not the healer. Medicine is man-made. Medicine is, it makes the pharmaceutical people rich. You know? And I don't know how true this is, but I understand that the pharmaceutical companies will gift the doctors things along the way for whatever. Oh, push this medicine. And the pharmaceutical company will tell the doctor all the good stuff about it. And we'll talk about the negative reactions to it, right? You know, sometimes when they come up with new medicine, they take 100 people and they say, hey, we'll pay all of you $500 so that you can test this medicine, and then your doctor will write how your progress is going and how it's working. Okay, yeah, I'll make an extra $500. Yeah, it helped me. But what does it do to your body after 10 years of taking that medicine? When, you know, you can go see a Indian guru, you know, who has healed people with natural, organic weeds. They say dandelions are very healing. It's been used for medicine for hundreds of years, you know. It's different things like that. Like, I was really upset with that doctor. I was like, what kind of doctor are you? You just increase people's medicine? Is that your answer to everything? I mean, I didn't say those words to him, but I felt like it. But I did say to him, like, shouldn't you be telling her how she can get off the medicine instead of increasing it? And he was like, yeah, we could send a dietitian down and we can do this and we can do that. And then he says, who's older? He's like, that's your cousin? And she's like, yeah. He says, who's older? I said, she's 2 years older than me. And he looked like, and she's like dominating over what's happening with your health, because I'm younger, right? And I said, I've been telling her for years, you know, don't do that. Don't do what you're thinking about doing, Darla. It's not going to be good. She was my cousin. We spent a lot of time together. You know, so she was a little quirky, you know. I was a little quirky too, but you know, when we hung out, we were hanging tight. She was very good to me. I was very good to her. We were good cousins. And the thing about me coming back is I'm glad I got to spend time with her before she died. And you know, before that, her brother Mike died. He's older. I couldn't tell. They got 11 in their family, so I don't know their exact order. But while she was in the hospital, her brother Mike died, and then her daughter went to you know, the gathering, and she put her mom on FaceTime, so her mom got to go around and see all the people there and chat a little and stuff. And after her daughter brought the phone by our table, you know, I told my one cousin, I said, you better go see her if you want to see her, because you know, she's on her last leg. And she said she couldn't because, you know, she had such a close bond with her, I guess, at one time. And that cousin lost her mom like 5 or 6 years ago, so it's still very fresh pain of someone so close, right? But when I saw Darla, I gave her a picture of my depiction of Hawaii, you know, the sand and the shrubbery and the palm trees and the island in the distance and the beautiful water. And she had visited Hawaii because her her brother went into the army. He got stationed out there, so he sent for her, and she stayed with him for a while. So she got to know Hawaii, same island that I was on, Oahu. But I visited her quite some, and she was in the old folks section at, she was released from the hospital in the old folks place, and I went to see her, and her legs were purple. Her her toenails looked like they wanted to jump off of her skin. Her feet were so swollen. And I told her, I said, I don't want this to be the last time I see you alive. And when I was leaving, I started crying. Like, I didn't know that would be actually the last time I would see her alive. But my higher self must have known, or I wouldn't have said it. So, I just told her that I loved her. And then leaving, I don't know, it might have been that time or another time, but one of the nurses, there's a lot of Filipino nurses in this area, and she said, yeah, we bring Darla Pancit. I was like, you do? Like, is she supposed to be having that? Like, because it has such high salt, right? The soy sauce has high salt. And then, of course, it's pork. And, the Filipino women from the Philippines, they just have a different digestive system than the American-born ones, And I'm not going to say all the American-born ones, but in our family, we just think about food and we gain weight. And it has to do with, I guess, our metabolism, our activity. I'm not really sure. It might be that whole cortisol thing that I talked about in the last reading or so. But, yeah, I cried that day. And I didn't want to see her. I didn't want her to see me cry. And, I sometimes feel like I'm here to help people go to the other side. Her oldest sister, Rita, got really sick. She had cancer, and I got to visit with her. And her sons had told me that she went under one time, like almost died, and she came back. And I was trying to ask her if she saw anything. That I just wanted to know if she saw anything that she remembered. But she was like not coherent really. She was just laying there, and I was holding her hand, and I was telling her that I was like, don't be afraid to let go. I said, when you die, I said, all of our loved ones will come, and they'll wrap their arms around you, and they'll take you. They'll take you up to heaven. I said, don't be afraid to let go. And there's a baby monitor in there that I didn't know, and it's always been my raw, authentic self. And her son came in, and he's like, we have a baby monitor in here. He said, Mom's not ready to go yet. And I said, okay. I said, I just wanted to know if she saw anything when she went under. I wanted to know what she saw. And I just wanted to tell her that, to don't be afraid to let go, because when she lets go, then all of, her mom and her aunties and everybody that are now our ancestors, they're all going to be there to get her. And I said, it's good to know she's not ready to leave us yet. And I think she died within the next week or so. But death can be a scary thing. It could be a scary thing for the people that's left behind. It could be a scary thing for the person that has to let go. That, maybe they're fighting to stay alive because they're afraid of what's beyond. What's beyond is a beautiful place. What's beyond is, it's a beautiful place, more beautiful than we could ever imagine. Now, those who constantly do bad, constantly, purposely do bad, I can't really say that there's a dark place or there's a fiery river, or I don't believe in speaking about that kind of stuff. I believe in speaking positively, into people's life. If you see yourself, your future going a certain way, if you really see in your future that it's going to be dim and it's going to be dreadful and it's going to be, a lot of hate around you, then that's what you see. That's what you send to the universe. And if you're okay with, those awful thoughts, how could I change your mind if you're okay with that? Right? But I know my cousin Rita, she wasn't a perfect woman, but she was a beautiful woman, inside and out. She had her things, that maybe people can judge her a certain way, but I never judged her that way. I just never did. I never, the only thing I can tell you is I said to God one time when I was little, when I grow up, I want to be just like Grandma, except for the crippled part. And I feel like that's who I've become. Obviously not a reincarnation of Grandma, am I? But I could be like her mini-me, except for I'm taller, because Grandma was crippled, right? Her body was shrunken. And even when she was alive, I think she was only barely 5 foot. She might have been shorter. I never asked her. But let me move forward. We're an hour and 32 minutes. Next we have animal message. And we have the red squirrel. Isn't he cute? He's really cute. The red squirrel. Okay. That glass is pretty thick because sometimes when you have a candle and it'll crack it when it gets down that low. Okay, let me get to the little red squirrel. But I painted some really beautiful pictures for for when people pass away. I did I think it was Rita's card that had a dove on it with the olive branch in its mouth. And so I had that card sitting on my table and I started painting that picture. And turned out that one of my neighbors, either his dad or his grandpa passed away. And so there's an area where all the cars are. And then if they're having some sort of gathering, whether it's a birthday party or that sort of thing, they say, can you put your car out there so we can put the tents up? And everybody's always really agreeable. But so they had 2 big tents up and I had that picture just sitting around. And then they had the tables in there with the tablecloths and then of course the big tents and all the chairs, and I went to set it out there, but then I thought, well, what if the right person doesn't get it or whatever? So I went back in to grab it, and then the guy's name was Daniel, I think. Daniel's dad or brother saw me leaving the tent, and then I gave it to him. I said, I said, I made this just a little bit ago, but I don't know, I don't even know if the wife is still alive, or I said, you can have it, or Daniel can have it. I painted this picture. So he just took it, and, it means a lot when you're the recipient of, a painting, right? Of course, it wasn't exactly, I always say my pictures are more cartoon-like than the real thing. But my nephew, he's like, he actually said his truth, and his truth was, Auntie, your pictures are beautiful. You just don't see the beauty of what other people see, and how your work looks. So, I have to remember that when I'm doing my work. The red squirrel, gather your resources now, for they will sustain you through coming change. Benevolent red squirrel has scurried into your card so that you may prepare for the future, for change is in the air. She counsels that you gather skills that are universal, transferable, and fundamental. The simple tools of life, such as cooking or growing of vegetables, too often cast aside in the metropolitan world, and preserve some of today's material bounty for the morrow. Unencumbered and adaptable, you may then, like squirrel, swim with the tides of the future and enjoy what is here today. So I have a girlfriend that I was in the service with. I mean, like, we weren't really close, but I don't know, I always felt like a close connection with her when she worked at the ship store. And that girl, she lives in, like, let's see, it's not Ohio, it's not Idaho. It's someplace like that. Anyways, it's, I guess it's like a little bit farm country, and she has the space or whatnot, so she raises her own, she plants and takes care of her own vegetables and fruits. Not all of them, but whatever she plants, she pickles it, or she jars it, or she makes jellies and that sort of thing. So that's a good thing to know how to do, and it's really rewarding, I would imagine, when you're serving your family a special meal, and here comes that homemade jam that grandma made, right? Okay, so our last card before the reading is I trust, hope, and have faith. I keep it real. Now, I keep it real means kind of like, right, you always are true to yourself. You try to see things for what it is. But when I wrote this, I trust, hope, and have faith. I keep it real in this card means I keep the trust that I have real. I keep the hope that I have real. And I keep the faith that I have real. Right? And I guess I should have on there somewhere love. I keep love real. Love, trust, hope, and faith. Keep it real. Okay. Now we're going for the Akashic Tarot. The craziest thing is, I had all this set up on my dresser in my bedroom. And I live on our main street, right? So we have all kinds of cars coming down here. We have most of the big trucks kind of wrap around, and they don't really cross this area here, but sometimes they're going strictly like south to north or north to south. And if you turn on any of the streets that go the other way, you're obviously going in either, well, none of them are going west because that's the beach, and there's no road like right here to turn left. You have to take it all the way down to the south side of town to make a left to like head towards the beach. But everything else is residential business on the main road basically, and then all the other is housing. So there's no need for a big 18-wheeler to really make a left. But they do occasionally come through here. What I'm trying to get to is, I never heard any rattles when I was doing any readings. Now it's like when tractor trailers go by, my dresser's rattling, the glassware on there's rattling. Maybe it's just that there's nothing touching anything. Yeah, I have my angel candle holder is how I had it over there, and I'll have it out here once I get some fresh candles. But I have the jar in there, just like that one right there, sitting in my little angel thing. And that must be what's rattling, but it never rattled before. I don't know. Is that some sort of sign? Let me know what you think. So, let me see. So I gotta get a birthday card for my oldest brother's favorite lady right outside of town. Today's her birthday, and I gotta write in there for him and bring it down to her. So, and I was in town yesterday, and I probably could have got a nice card at the dollar store, but it wasn't like on my mind at that time. And by the time I go all the way there and come back, it might as well say it's 20 miles. It's like a gallon of gas, right? So I have to take that $5 I put in the gas and go over here next door to the post office and see what kind of pretty card I can get. They're usually about $5, $3 to $5, I guess. Then I was thinking that I might go into town and get her a gift certificate from one of the food places. She could send her granddaughter to get her a sandwich later or another day. My oldest brother's very good. He's very good to me. So I do anything I can at a moment's notice for him. And, I've been wanting to get and see him, but my car's old and people drive about 70 or faster. And I've never driven in Oakland, San Francisco area. That kind of scares me. I've driven in the LA. Like LA is different than San Francisco. Those guys up there, they can go 70 miles an hour and only barely have a half a car length in front of you. I don't drive that way. And in LA, it can get bumper to bumper, but I don't really recall them driving like that. Okay, so let me do my cuts, and then do one more cut. And then we'll begin. Hold on. It's got to feel right, The Three of Roses, Loving Elementals. It speaks about little fairies, little, they call them little sprites. And I've actually heard people call them orbs. So when I was living on my own in Hawaii, and Chris was living, he was still in the house, in our condo. And you know, it gets pretty hot in Hawaii, right? And where I was staying, my free stay was, we had just remodeled that unit. So, you know, it's all freshly painted and new flooring and stuff like that. And so I would like sit with the door open. And one time this kid was walking by, and I was like standing in the doorway smoking, and he wanted to bum a smoke off me. And so, you know, I had the door open. I was like, come in and sit down. So, you know, he sat on the floor because I only had the futon. He sat on the floor, and, you know, I let him smoke a couple cigarettes or whatever. And he was talking about orbs. So he must have been kind of a spiritual guy. It was nice chatting with him. I mean, like, it was all clean, you know, he wasn't weird or anything. Okay. Setting your course. So it's good to talk to people and kind of find out what they're doing with their lives and where they're going in life, and do they have direction. I mean, people kind of, I'm the only girl in this generation of my grandmother's kids. Well, let me see. I think I'm the only girl that's ever went into a military service. But I did it just to not be a burden to anybody. And, you know, feeling like you're a burden is a weird thing. Like, oh, I'm going to let you live with me, not because I want to, because, you know, I'm your older sibling and I have to. I really would have been better off going into a, you know, a orphanage, or what do you call those, into the social system. But then you never know what you're going to get, right? You might get a family where the man is like abusing, you know, or it could be the woman abusing, who knows. So I shouldn't say I would have been better off. I just had a lot to deal with. Okay, setting your course. The captain of a ship stands on the forward bridge, surveying the horizons through a telescope. Two officers nearby refer to an unrolled chart. A rainbow colors the sky. This is a great time to broaden your horizons in both your personal and business lives. Do not limit yourself to only one direction. Your opportunities are greater than just what you see. When you widen your scope, you'll find your ways to limitless options and boundless wealth. This card can also show a potential partnership or a affiliation among three people who can be helpful on your path. Travel or relocation may be on the agenda too. Okay, so it's saying pay attention to the next card and see how it will give you any, you can see your future a little more clear. Like, is there any hints? Okay. The Akashic Force. Imagine you are a ship upon the sea. The wind has filled your sails, and you cut through the water with ease. Feel the exhilaration of boundless freedom and the assurance of going wherever your will drives you. Where are you headed? Okay, Archangel Raphael. So if you're to look at the next card, right, that's a major arcana, and he is an archangel. So he is here to help you on your journey, and we'll see what his special job is that God has him assigned to. Okay, and he's an 8. 8 is like universal law, right? It's like, I don't know. I guess I'd have to Google it to tell you exactly. The Archangel Raphael walks down a path and approaches you. Sharing his healing and uplifting light, he is a profoundly loving spirit who has an important role in bringing the Akashic power to you. This beautiful being carries the energies of love, family, miracles, healing, and blessed journeys. He can share all these intentions and experiences with you and more. Of all the archangels, Raphael most often comes in the guise of a human. This card can indicate that helpful others may be attending you now. It also portends a time of great achievement in your personal life, and Raphael is opening the door. Blessings abound with this card upright. There may be a renewal of a lost dream, a reuniting of family members, or a healing, perhaps of a physical condition or of a broken heart. Even if these conditions have been hanging on for a while, now is the time when you really can break through. Let Raphael be your partner in this process, and you'll soon see why they call him the miracle worker. Open yourself to the presence and touch of the Archangel Raphael, who stands beside you now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel your whole self fill with the healing energy of boundless love. Every cell, every thought, every moment vibrates with the radiant power and love of Raphael. Next, we have clearing the way. The man has an axe. Their house is beyond the fallen log. If he uses his axe too abruptly, something, he could hurt someone or hurt himself. But if he does it too softly, then he won't make way. So it has to be done in a certain manner that will make the job go in the easiest, safest way. Okay. This card is a strong signal that it's now to take significant action to remove an obstruction in your way. It may be in your personal life, in relationship, at work, or with a creative project. You must be clear-headed, so be sure to temper your action with calm and forethought. If you are too urgent and excitable, you may waste your energy or even cause damage. On the other hand, again, if you're overly gentle and cautious, you won't clear the way completely. Be determined and strong as you work to remove the obstacle that blocks your steps. With time and your attention, the way to your dreams will be open. With a deep breath, fill yourself with the strength, force, and love that help you move any obstacle that blocks your path. Feel that love and power growing, gently moving through anything within and around you and freeing you completely. Next, the 8 of Keys, the Master Artisan. That speaks of a guy who has mastered himself, and he has one of his apprentices in front of him, and he's handing him some beads or some coins or something. He pours a number of beautiful shining gems into the open hand of one of his apprentices. This card indicates that you now have the opportunity to offer your talents, your purpose, and your gifts to the world, making a contribution to many. Don't be shy and don't hold back what you have to share. It's not the time to hide your light under a basket. So shine on. Okay, we used to say shine on when I was in high school. As a matter of fact, you may now find yourself teaching or training your skill set to others. You may also be demonstrating your gifts and performing your talents publicly, even if your gifts lie in the ability for loving, compassionate care. You will be sharing those gifts with others. In this period of time, you can build your reputation to take advantage of the opportunities that come your way. So take action, put yourself out there, and let yourself shine. There is much beauty and empowerment for you to bring to the world. Close your eyes and feel yourself filled with all of the gifts you have to share with the world. Sense those energies pour through your heart and mind and out to the people around you. Feel the ease of this sharing. You cannot be drained, for all this you give flows back to you unceasingly. To create return, do this sharing frequently. Okay, next we have the King of Scrolls. He has some open scrolls laying on the bench beside him. He's looking across his castle, his land, and maybe he's thinking about maybe building something. That's why he has the scrolls. Or is he overseeing something that we can't see yet? Okay, a man holds a scroll as he looks across a well-groomed garden. A number of scrolls lay on the garden bench next to him. He is the King of Scrolls, a man of learning, and he can be helpful to you in a number of ways. This man may be present in your life already. If not, you'll be meeting him soon. He may be an author, teacher, communicator who will assist you in some professional way. He could also be a friend who brings wisdom through his own studies and spiritual practices. Be open to the guidance this man offers, for it could help lead your life in exciting new directions. As with any of the kings and queens, the King of Scrolls may also be a love interest for you or for another. Depending upon his location in the spread, his wisdom is compelling, and there are likely to be many interesting and lively discussions. This card may also represent you or someone you know who is longing for deeper understanding and a greater clarity of thought. Now is a great time to pursue new interests, perhaps even enroll in some classes or attend a lecture or two. A position in teaching, counseling, advertising, writing, publishing, or the like may be on the agenda now. A treasure trove of discovery is waiting for you, so let your mind and your life soar. Take a deep breath and pull in the energy of the King of Scrolls. Feel yourself fill up with a new sense of wisdom and heightened communication. Your mind and vision grow with the power of the King of Scrolls. Is there something you'd like to learn? That's a question. Is there something you'd like to learn? Okay. Next, we have the Eight of Scrolls. So right now we have 8. Oh, we have 8 already. Okay. We have the 8 Archangel Raphael. We have the 8 of Keys, and now the 8 of Scrolls. So that is very significant to our reading because it's 8, right? The 8 of Scrolls. Woodland animals gather around a woman who stands in a small clearing in the forest. The fork before it breaks into 3 separate paths. The middle is clear and bright. The left is much darker with more trees and growth, and the right is dappled by sunlight with a few shadows falling here and there across it. This card reveals that you've been traveling on a path that's known to you, and it shows you the way to the expected outcome. But there are 2 other paths that aren't as clear. Remember, if you stay with only the known and seemingly safe, you won't catch the unseen opportunities that can come your way. Some options may be unexpected and perhaps a little risky. Don't be attached to your agenda that you miss them. Happily, during this phase, You can investigate unknown paths and make the decisions that lie before you with confidence. You are flexible and brave enough to step into the shadows. Stay alert. Extraordinary opportunities abound in the least expected places. Close your eyes and see a path cloaked in shadow before you. It might be a little scary because it's unknown. Step right into the shadow and feel yourself fill with the excitement of uncertainty and unknown opportunity. Are you ready for the surprise? See, when I was growing up, I had to venture off with my brothers. That's Randy, Michael, and Kenny. Okay, because they're the three youngest, right? The three youngest boys. My sister Tanya, she fits in there between Kenny and Mike. But my sister, she lived with my grandma. So even though she was like in our family, her family was really with my grandparents, right? And so I had to pal around with three boys. And boy, I don't know how they kept me going. We would walk all the way down to the beach. I think maybe I was trying to think how old I was. Maybe about like 9. It was 6 miles to the ocean, but we walked it. I don't know how they kept me going about it, but they kept me going. And they always made it exciting. My brothers, actually, they had a BB gun, which was really kind of disgusting, but they both had BB guns, the two oldest, I think. And or maybe they just had one and they took turns. But there's like a little gully area. It's the little ditch between the road and then the farms, right? The fields where they grow the produce. And so during the winter months, water would rush down from, I don't know why the water ran from east to west, but that's kind of how it was. So it poured back into Guadalupe Beach, the Pacific Ocean. But on the way in the gully, there could be water snakes, there could be bullfrogs. One time, my brothers caught a snake. Well, they got the snake more than once. One particular time, they caught a snake, and they took it down to Masatani's, the local grocery store, and they let the snake go in the grocery store. All these ladies were screaming. My brother Mike, he was cracking up. I was a little freaked out. Back then, everybody knew who everybody was. Boy, by the time we got home, Mom was mad. She got the phone call. Yeah, your kids let a snake out in my store. It's like, oh my gosh. And then another time they caught a snake and they had it in a box, a big cardboard box in the yard. And my mom had to call my oldest brother, and he had to come and he had a shovel. And he's like, if I have to come over here about you guys getting a snake, I'm going to make you eat him. And so he had a shovel and he had to, because I think it was like a copperhead or something. It was actually a poisonous snake my brothers caught. And is it copperhead, diamond head, something like that. Anyway, so my oldest brother had a shovel and he was just stabbing it into the cardboard box, killing it. Because, what are you going to do with it? You could take it, you could have taken it in the box and probably brought it somewhere and let it go. But I don't know if he was on a motorcycle or would my mom even let him put it in the car. I'm not sure, but I just remember my brother saying that and him killing it because, well, it's poisonous anyways. So if he let it go somewhere and then it bit someone and killed him, then he probably would feel guilty. But my brother Randy and Michael, they were the most adventurous people, and I got to go with them a lot of places. We went by foot, but we trucked. We even used to go to the riverbed and walk around. And the riverbed is beyond Grandma's house. Grandma's house is on the north side. And it's probably when we lived halfway across, Pioneer Street. We lived halfway distance. Well, better than half. It was only like, let me see. It was only 4 blocks to Grandma's house. Where before it was all the way, we used to live all the way on the most south side of Guadalupe. When I was too young, Mom wouldn't let me go over there. But anyways, paths unknown. Yeah, my brothers always kept me excited. That we always were doing something. And since I was the youngest, it's not like we even had like water jugs. We went wherever we went, and if we were thirsty, we just worked through it and got to wherever we were going, and then we had to hustle back. And when we got home, it's whatever, time to have something to eat. Back then kids really ran around. They don't get to do that these days with all these pedophiles, these trafficking of children and women and boys, Alright, so I know we only pulled a few cards. We're at 2 hours, but I think it's mostly important to do the 888 reading. Okay. Abundance and prosperity. Angel number 888 is strongly associated with abundance, prosperity, and financial success. It's a sign that the universe is aligning to bring material rewards and blessings into your life. This could manifest in various ways, such as financial gains or opportunities for wealth. Okay, so now I want to see what Joanne has to say, because I just took the first one. Okay. Number 888 is a powerful number as it carries the vibrations and attributes of number 8 appearing tripled, magnifying its energies and influences. Number 8 relates to self-reliance, reality, manifesting wealth, and positive abundance, dependability, truth and integrity, self-confidence, discernment, and good judgment, achievement, giving and receiving, philanthropy, and serving humanity, and karma, the universal spiritual law of cause and effect. Remember, we had the 8. I said something about universal spiritual law, cause and effect. I left that part out because I didn't have it all in my brain. Okay. Angel number 888 brings an uplifting message of encouragement from your angels, telling of achievement, success, thriving forward, progress, and attainment. It brings a message to stay optimistic and listen to your intuition and inner guidance. Set solid foundations for yourself and your loved ones, as this will ensure your future prosperity. The universe and your angels will always support you, but it is your responsibility to ensure that you put in the appropriate work and effort when and where necessary. You are encouraged to live up to your full potential. Angel number 888 indicates that financial material abundance is on its way into your life and may be suggesting that you will receive unexpected rewards for past good work. Karma is repaid in kind. Let's see. Angel number 888 tells you that your life purpose is fully supported by the universe. The universe is abundant and generous and wishes to reward you. Great financial prosperity is yours now and in the future. Angel number 888 may also suggest that a phase in your life is about to end and is a sign of forewarning to enable you to prepare yourself and your life accordingly. It may also indicate that you are winding up an emotional, career, or relationship phase in your life. Never compromise your integrity in an effort to get ahead. Honor your own truths and be true to yourself and your own path and mission. Okay? So the thing is, let's see. Never compromise your integrity. In other words, if I was like a really rich person, right? And I called you up, hey John, I'll give you $5 million if you blah 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 blah, something negative, right? You know, we don't ever have to talk again. I want to offer you this $5 million to do this deal, right? It's not a good deal. It's a good deal that that you receive this $5 million, but is it worth losing your integrity of who you portray to the world, who you are? It's how you feel inside, right? Your integrity. I hold myself at a higher standard. I hold myself with accountability. I hold myself in a way that my name, when I die, is good. It's going to be a good name because I will have refused all offers of something tainted. My name is who I am and who I stand for. I do all of this in honor of my ancestors. So, okay, so if that's you and that's how you feel, and then you're John and I offer you $5 million, are you going to get rid of all of that just to have the wealth? Is it worth it to dishonor your grandparents, your ancestors, right? Here, John, here's $5 million. Forget about, this journey that you're on right now. Forget about that. Take the $5 million and go live your life. Maybe one of the factors is, I'll give you $5 million, but you have to walk away from your spirituality. Can you hold up? Can you hold up to your end of the bargain with what you promised yourself, what you promised your ancestors? Your ancestors could be 10 generations back, 10 generations back. All of your ancestors are your ancestors. Are you going to disgrace your whole bloodline, your whole, for money? Maybe, like for me, maybe this channel gets really big, right? Maybe I start getting sponsors. Maybe I open up my own psychic page that other psychics can come on, and if something's offered to you that is not of God, if something's offered to you that takes God out of your life, or that taints the God within you, will you take it? Or will you carry that integrity with you? I say carry the integrity. God will give you what you want, what you need, what you desire. When you praise His name, when you're so thankful, right? Never sell yourself out. Never sell your soul to the devil. Never, if there's any question, if I come up to you and I'm trying to get you to do this deal, right? And maybe I don't really tell you all the hidden little writings, and I could be using invisible ink, right? Oh, and by the way, you just sold yourself to the devil, right? And then you signed the contract. I don't even like to talk about that because, like, what do people do when they sign the contract? Is it a contract that can be broken? And if so, how would that be broken? You know, by God's grace? Like I said, I don't like talking about that, but hold on to your integrity. Hold on to who you are, no matter what this world offers you. If someone offers you something and you think that you're not really sure, even if you think you're mostly like 95% positive, right? You still want to say, hey, hold off, No, I'm not going to just sign it just because you're asking me to do it right this minute. I'll get back to you by next week this time or within 72 hours. If you want to do the so-called deal with me, you'll hold tight. You'll give me that time. And then you just pray to God. God, is this real? Is this you or is this a devil? Tell me, God, because I don't want to make the wrong decision. And then pay attention to the signs. So, as just a regular human being talking to you on this channel, could I actually tell you things, right? Have I told you so many things that you say, this person, her spirit, I can feel her vibe through the reading, right? She has a good heart. She's telling the truth when she said she saw 4 nails all heads up on a wall. Not poked into the wall, just on the wall, 4 heads up. She gets a picture of a angel dropping out from the sun on her phone. She takes a picture. She cried the day her close friend took a gun and killed himself. She didn't get a phone call. She didn't even know why she was crying. She was just crying like a little baby. To turn out 4 or 5 days later, that's the same day he stopped playing Words with Friends with her. That same day when on Monday his workers tell her he killed himself. When she said she was walking her dog and saw a carpet rolled up on the back end of the driveway, she thought, what if there was a person in there? And then there really was. Then when she said, when she was a kid, she had a dream. 1 out of 37 grandkids that my grandmother had, 1 had blood on him. And then the next week was Cousin Stephen. That was the dream. When she tells 3 family members, you went under twice. And if you don't change your ways, you might not come back the 3rd time. I have seen so many signs that I could never say, God is not real. So when I tell you that you can talk to God, I sincerely mean you can talk to God. When I talked to God and I said, all right, God, I'm ready to take the leap of faith, I left a very hurt man who was hurt long before I ever met him, who I encouraged to get healing, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to open up that suitcase of his pain.
And sometimes they like to lash out on the ones that love them the most. But God divinely guided me away from him. So there's no way I would be here telling all of you these stories. There's no way that I would be feeling strong enough to talk to you about God if I hadn't seen it for myself in my own time. We never know when God's going to call us. So we better get right now, right? So if someone comes up to you and offers you a deal that's too good to be true, look at that person's spirit. Look in their eyes and with the intent of saying, is this a good person or is this a bad person? And it will be revealed to you. And if it's not revealed to you, then you don't want to sign anything until you have time to, what is the term, muddle over it? To think about it. A lot of times, my first husband, he loved me. He said he loved me. His actions didn't really show it. Like, it wasn't full on, like, I love her so much, I'm not going to do anything to ever try to hurt this relationship. He loved me in the way that he knew that I loved him so much that I would never do anything to hurt this relationship, right? His own mother told me, oh, now he's your problem. His own sisters talked about it. They're like, what does she see in him? So they saw something in me I didn't even see. They thought I was way better than him. Maybe I was, but, I thought he loved me and I thought I loved him. And we have a child. We had a child like 10 years, 15 years after we got married, But I'm saying before we had kids, his one sister's like, what? I was talking to Betty, and I was telling her, like, what does she see in him? I saw love with him. That's what I saw. Unfortunately, his love was a different love than my love was. So these things happen, but what I'm saying is people will recognize you before you recognize who you are. And if someone's been treating you bad, say at work, right? Maybe you decided not to go along with what everybody else was going along with. Maybe you decided to speak up. Maybe you decided to put in your 2 weeks. You had enough. You already seen people, how they screw over other people, how they waste time and gossip and tell lies just to make themselves feel better. Maybe that's you, and maybe that's your situation. You say, you know what, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks. I'm out of here. What are they going to do? They know you're an intricate part to the job, right? They know that you're the guy that, hey, John, can you do this extra? Because, Sam called out, so, we're backlogged over here. Can you just take, an hour out of your time and do this work over here so I can keep my progress going? Oh, yeah, sure. I can do that for you. Right? Knowing that you put in your 2 weeks, right? Now the job that you wanted, the job that you applied for, the job that they said, oh, well, we'll think about it. And they never get back to you. All of a sudden it opens up. Oh, John, why don't you take this position? You're really deserving of it. Like, why would I want it now? I wanted it last week when you said, we'll think about it. You knew I wanted that job. You wait till I say I'm leaving, then you offer it to me? Why didn't you do the right thing and offer it to me last week when I wanted it? So, you're going to have a choice, right? You're going to have a choice. Oh, I said my piece. I said I was putting my 2 weeks. And now they don't want me to leave. They made me feel like I needed them. When in fact, I know that I'm the extra person. I'm the person to go to. I'm the one that'll take my time and help someone else out when all the other people say no, Find someone else. I already have my job. I already have my assignment. So now it really shows up. They made you feel like you needed them when in fact they needed you. See how manipulative, you know what I mean? Manipulating that is, right? So would you want to take that new position that you wanted last week? They're only offering it to you just because you're saying I put in my 2 weeks. What does that say about the integrity of that person running that department? And if you accept it, what does that say about you? I'll accept that they try to put me through the ringer. I'll accept, that I had to threaten to walk out, which was a real truth. I actually did put in my 2 weeks before they offered me something. You know what I'd tell them? I'd tell them to take that job and you know what with it, where the sun don't shine. I already put in my 2 weeks. You guys had all this time to figure it out, but you wait till I put in my 2 weeks and now you offer it to me. And I guess we'll all have our own reasons why we would stay. But what does that do? What does that do about your integrity? I stood in my truth. I told them how I felt. Now, because they're offering me the new job, I have to take all that back just to keep the job, to get the new job? What happens the next time there's a position and I obviously put my heart and soul, my blood, sweat, and tears. What, do I have to threaten to walk away again before I get what I want? Like, what world do we really live in? That is actually the real world, right? It's only the people that are connected, like outside of work. Oh, this is my best friend. We're ride or dies. So whatever he wants, I want it for him. And whatever I want, he wants it for me. And that's how people are getting jobs. That's how people are getting promoted. It's not your skill set. It's your, must say lip service, right? The truth hurts. Will you take the dirty deal or will you not? The cards say 888. Does that mean that God wants you to stay there and go on the paths unknown and stay in that position? You're moving into a different position, but it's with the same company, with the same circle jerk, the same. We don't really just give promotions to those that really deserve it. They have to threaten to leave before we'll offer it to them. Other than that, we're going to take my friend Sam, I go out with him on Friday and Saturday night. We're out there chasing women or we're out, whatever, we're hanging out. Sam's high up in the company, right? If I hang out with him and do what he wants, then when it's promotion time, maybe he'll put his neck out for me, and he knows I can do the work. He knows that I qualify, right? That would be saying, the part where the guy puts in 2 weeks. Okay, oh, all right. Hey, John, all right, you can have it. I didn't really want you to have it, but since you put in your 2 weeks, there you go. Then you have the other side, which is, I'm hanging out with you and I'm not really qualified, but I get all the promotions because you're my best friend. I don't really know the ins and outs, and I don't really care to know the ins and outs. I care to know the minimum to get the maximum. Okay, so my left ear is ringing. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's saying it's time to end the reading. Let me see what it says for spiritually, just for the sake of doing it. Left ear ring. Spiritual. The buzzing or ringing in your left ear is telling you that you are at a crossroads in your life. So don't be hasty in making up your mind. Spend time in deep thought and reflection, and then trust your instincts and intuition to help you decide which way to turn. And if you want to know more, when you type that in, it gives you 11 spiritual meanings. So isn't it crazy how I'm telling you about your integrity, right? Because the 888 said integrity, and then my left ear started ringing. And I was telling you to don't make any decisions, to say, look, if you want me to have this, I'm not going to just sign the dotted line. I need time to think about it. I need time to reflect. Then you go to say your prayer. Hey, dear God, this was offered to me. It doesn't really feel right. So can you tell me, God, is this my path? And wait for the signs. And open your eyes, open your ears, open your heart, and listen for his answer. He might send you a big Y in the cloud saying, yes, this is the way I want you to go. Or it might be a big N in the cloud. Oh, there's an N. God must be answering me. It must be no. And believe what your heart tells you. If it doesn't feel right, then it's probably a no. Okay? People think, like I said with my first husband, his sister was saying, what the heck does she want with him? Like, I'm so much better than him, but they didn't say those words. I stuck with that guy for 19 years. I helped build him up. I did his resume for the job that he retired from. I even sent them a thank you for the opportunity letter, which was a unknown thing that people did back then. I'm talking 1989, 1990. People were just happy that people came and interviewed and shook their hand and said thank you. That was like the norm. I pushed them beyond that by sending that note. Oh, Mrs. Smith, it was nice meeting you today, and I'm really excited about the outcome, and I look at my future in a positive way, or whatever it is that I wrote. I don't even know what I wrote, but it was unheard of for people to send a thank you letter for an interview, and that's why he got the job. When he went to work, all the workers were saying, how many times did you apply? He's like, once. He's like, well, they were like, well, who do you know? You got to know somebody. He's like, I just moved here from Virginia. Yeah, I put in the application. I went and did the test. I got the interview, and my wife sent a thank you note for the interview, and that was it. Many other people, even now, you can go to electric company, you can go to the water company, you can go a lot of different places. Unless you have some real education in that field, you're usually waiting on a list of some sort. But it's the power of God in your life. You should never have just oh, I'm a big shot now. I work at the power company. kind of thing. He should have been thanking God, but God wasn't in our house. He wasn't in our house back then. And, through the divorce, all of a sudden, he was bringing my daughter to church, and he was saying hallelujah, and then he'd get home and start smoking his cigarettes and drinking his beer and watching his football and crying over Dale Earnhardt dying, which was a tragedy, but he didn't even really know him. When my dad died, my dad died prior to that. He's like, oh, people live and people die, like, get over it. But then Dale Earnhardt dies and you're falling apart. Make it add up. Doesn't add up, right? That's the end of my reading. You guys got 888s. Okay, so stay positive. Remember? And if anything negative pops into your head, throw it out and say, that's not me. That's not mine. I don't want that part of my life. I want goodness in my life. I want the 888s in my life. I want God to be, the 8 could signify around me, in me, above me, 888, universal law, the cause and effect. If I put out good in the universe, I'm going to get back good from the universe. If I'm a shitty person and I'm nasty and I'm blah, 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 then that's what I'm going to get back. So adjust yourself, fix yourself. I used to tell my daughter, fix yourself. Yeah, fix yourself. You can fix yourself. It's a matter of your mind. It's a matter of your commitment to yourself. It's a matter of putting in the work. Okay? God bless you all. Thank you for listening to this reading. I hope you found value in it and enjoy the day. It's going to be a high of 66 here today. Imagine that. Actually, 66 it's because it's dry, right? It's not really that cold. But all the other days that we just passed was like around 60. So getting from 60 to 66 is definitely thumbs up, right? Have a beautiful day. God bless you. Be safe while you're out. Be safe while in your home. Claim God in your life. Claim God's protection. And thank Him every day. And your life will begin to change. I promise you. I am a living proof of that. Sending you so much love. All my loves out there. Aloha. Don't forget to do that, like, share, subscribe thing for me, okay? And keep it real. Bye-bye.